Have you been thinking about going off grid? Okay, we're going to talk about this. So I've made some statements that some people have commented on regarding going off grid and what that is. I used a word, not toward anybody going off grid, but to spiritual leaders who are retreating. I used the word coward, not as an insult, but as a coward to me is somebody who retreats and doesn't go into that which we're supposed to be resolving these issues, right? We're supposed to be the catalyst for positive change. Now, I'm going to talk about off-grid because I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I want to just propose something to you because we're on one planet and we're not going anywhere. So, is off-grid for you? Does it make sense? I've heard things about the hoarding and stocking up. I want to talk about that too. And then the rest is your decision to make. You ready? Yeah, let's talk about this. Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an amazing life. Okay, should you go off grid? We hear this all the time. I'm going off grid. For me, when you put yourself in a position to influence other spiritual teachers, when I hear them promoting going off grid and that they're going to, well, we know that chances are pretty good you don't have the internet out there. If you're really going off grid, you're not going to have internet access. So the question is, how much positive influence can you continue to make if you retreat for your own personal escape? The purpose of my comment in one of my videos was about some of these spiritual teachers online. They call them my competitors. I don't think there are competitors. I think we're all in it together, but YouTube refers them to as competitors. I've seen some of them resort to fear. And so these are very negative messages that, of course, get people all riled up because you're going to these people for inspiration and they start switching gears on you. We have to start making responsible decisions for ourselves. Now, I want to talk about going off grid. What does that mean? So if we're all here in suburbs or even countrysides or whatever, and our idea of going off grid is a positive one, what are we doing to those spaces that are so pristine? Now you're going to have, what, thousands of people going out there where animals were finally safe from our craziness. Now we're going to go out there and try and keep them off of our property and out of our gardens and all these other things that, you know what happens when you go off grid. I don't think people are prepared for it. Watch some of these shows about people that really do live off grid, and you know it's not luxurious. So if you think you're going to go out there and now you're going to have all the luxuries, then that's really not off grid. Okay, and that means that, you know what, we could stay here and change this. So if we retreat, are we really making a difference, or are we just getting away for our own personal shelter? Now, I am not telling you that there's anything wrong with it because everyone has their own decision to make. I want to just present a thought to you, and that is, why did you come here? If you want to make a difference and you go off to a monastery and you're sitting up there with your rice and your veggies for the rest of your life and you meditate, what kind of an impact? Well, by the way, that does make an impact because all positive thoughts and that do contribute to the collective, but what kind of an impact could you really make if you do that? So this is, again, your individual decision is maybe you're just not up for it, but I believe you are on this planet right now because you are up for it. I believe that those teachers out there that are now going, it's easy to be inspirational when things are going great. As soon as we go into these spaces where stuff's starting to really hit the fan, you're going to find out what we're really made of and who's going to buck up. And so, like I said, I don't like the word coward, and I hope that wasn't taken in a way that was meant to insult anybody. I wasn't talking about you guys. I was talking about certain teachers out there that have taken on this mission to make a difference. Retreating This isn't the time to retreat. It's not the time to run away. It's the time to hang in there and change this world. So if we say, well, we've polluted this, so we're going to go to another space on the planet and, make our homes there. Oh, no, I'm going to live with nature. Are you really? Are you really? Or are you just taking what we're doing here and placing it out there on some level? And by the way, living off grid, man, it's brutal, as I mentioned. So why not transform what's here so that we stop the violations to our planet in what we've already created? Now, I launched unityclothingcompany.com. It is just, that site alone is just for clothing, accessories, jewelry, bags, anything like that. 100% has to be recycled, sustainable, vegan. And I want to make it available for artists like you to go on that site and earn money. All right? And so what you'll do is you'll encourage, it's for buyers and sellers. I'm going to have a whole platform for sellers. I'm going to help you do that. And I will take no commissions. However, it's going to be for buyers too. So we have to abide by certain rules. So what we're going to do is give people options who don't know where to go for things. I want to pull things in, and I know there's other sites probably like this. I haven't really looked into it. I'm just creating this. I want to create a space where people have options so that they're not contributing to chemicals and pollution, or taking stuff that they don't use anymore and putting it in dumps. If we can start to reduce that, we become the solution. If I run away, what happens? Right? Just that one effort. And if you're one of those artists, maybe you stink at business. That's okay, I'll help you. That's what I'm trying to do for other people out there who don't know how to either make a living or get their products or services out there. Digital Explorers will be a site for services and full-blown training for online businesses, because we can reach global audiences. This is how we make a difference. So, somebody said, and a couple people said this to me, well, hoarding's not bad if you're doing it to take care of your family, and then you can help other people. I'm thinking, well, wait a second. Me taking all this stuff off the shelves is going to help other people? Think about that. Oh, I'm going to help other people. You're not hoarding to help other people. Let's be really honest here. And so the hoarding and all that other stuff, it starts a chain reaction of fear. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have some extra stuff to prepare for things and recycle. You don't keep it over there and it goes bad. I had an ex-husband who did that. It was just a huge waste. You recycle, you have a little bit of extra stuff so that, if we have a hurricane or if you have an earthquake or, whatever happens, you got that little backup. That's not hoarding. I'm not talking about, being prepared. But when you go out and you're in the aisles fighting for stuff and cleaning out shelves, you create the shortage that never had to happen. We're in control, and fear is our biggest, it's not an enemy, it's our biggest, let's just say, challenge. Now I have a master class coming up, and I'm going to announce that. And it's a Breakthrough Fear Masterclass, 4 steps to break through fear. It's an hour long. And I'll announce it so you can sign up. You have to register for it. I have limited seating for that. We're going to work on this. Why? Because you never have anything to fear. And if you're so focused on all of this stuff and what so-and-so says and they said and they're going off grid and I have to save myself, you're still entrenched in the physical world and you're not realizing that you have the power to absolutely change that future and your own reality. And we're all going to live in it together. People are in different frequencies on this planet together. And you're going to see it. Now, most people in lower frequencies don't see the higher frequencies. The high frequency, once you go up, you see the lower frequencies because you become more conscious and aware and you're expansive. So it's almost a little bit more painful in a lot of ways because it seems so ridiculous. So I hear about our conflict in other countries and they're doing this and blowing this up and they're blowing this up, and it's so insane and ridiculous that people are killing one another. It's absolutely insanity. And so you're going to start to go into that space. We're going to see how really insane and ridiculous human beings are, because they really do hold the power to change anything. And the only reason any conflict happens is because we go into fear. Right? It's fear. You can say, oh no, it's this. No, it's fear. Fear that I won't get something, or fear that I'll get something I don't want. And so when you go out of fear, what stops you from doing anything? What stops you from changing jobs or relationships or moving or giving up things? Fear. Because you don't like the idea of the unknown. But here's what I'm going to tell you what. If you're in that state of mind, the unknown exists for you. Because you're not in control. You don't believe you're in control. So if you're not believing you're in control, you're not. So you're leaving yourself up to random things, which is usually on a lower frequency. So bad things start to happen to you, neither good nor bad. Teaching situations happen to you. And you say, see, things aren't working. But you're actually creating it yourself. So is it right for you to consider going off grid? Now, a lot of people are downsizing and they're just, realizing they don't need a lot of stuff. I'm not talking about that. I think that is actually a healthy way of life, because once you have all this stuff, it becomes exhausting to take care of it, right? You can live a beautiful, abundant life. But ask yourself, what does that really mean? How much do I need to really be happy? And so we can have beautiful things. You can have a beautiful home and items inside, and then you'll realize, how many sets of dishes do you need? How many clothes do you need before you realize you keep gravitating toward the really cool stuff? Use your best stuff. You deserve it. I use cloth napkins. I light candles. I have beautiful dishes. I use my best dishes every day and my best silverware. I just absolutely love it. I deserve it, and you do too. And if you live your life every day, you don't have to have multiple things, and you can distribute stuff that now we don't have to go purchase more and more and more. You can do the same thing with food. So I asked people, she was talking about menopause, and I said, are you eating anything processed? If it comes in a package, it's processed. It's not easy to get away from things. And you might say, well, if I go off grid, I can do that. So now you're doing what to the beautiful, pristine land out there, where there's wild horses and wild animals, and then maybe you have to kill them to survive, when if you were here, we could handle all of that and upgrade ourselves and get away from the processed food. Because if there's no market for it, then the industries that create it will stop making it. So we can make a bigger impact here if you're up for the challenge. And if you're not, God bless you. You know what? I don't blame you. It's not for everyone. But this is where we have to buck up. This is the mission. We're in it. It's not coming. We're in it right now. So I've talked about it's coming, the event, whatever. And now you notice my videos it's here. We're in the middle of it, and you're going to see more and more things happen. But the more you become entrenched in the positive change, the more you're going to neutralize those drastic, splits that are happening right now. With, like I said, you're going to even see spiritual teachers go into a space that may surprise you. You have to use your intuition, your heart, and go with what you think is right. And it's sort of funny because I had somebody email me, because when I said, spiritual teachers, I believe that, this is not the time to retreat or speak fear. And they said that I was judging. And so my question is, well, what was that email? Judging me. It just never stops, does it? Right? Hey, listen, we're all human. You're allowed your opinion. I do want to point out that we have to be aware, though. So if you, my point is to tell you that you have to be in the moment and ask yourself if the words that are being spoken are to place you in fear, place you in a state of panic or dread of the future, or place you back into the material world when you actually are so in control of everything. The more that of us that go into the space of positive change, and we know that what we see isn't what is, that we have the ability to change anything that we see and experience right now, the more we go into the tipping point where we go into the new earth. That's it. It's just that simple. And it's right here. It's not on another planet. It's not off in the mountain, the pristine mountains, so that we can bring our crap out there. Literally. So I hope this makes sense. And again, you know what? There's no right nor wrong. They're just choices. And yeah, it's tough when you see the worst of things happening out there, but think who's doing that? We are. And so you say a child doesn't choose abuse. A child does. As an is not a child. Is a light being that came here. It just happens to appear as a child because that's the progression we go through as humans. Did agree to participate in certain things, but the abuser has a choice. So it's not something that happens to you. It's what humans are doing, and we can end it. We have to step in. We have to be active. I told you there's no tolerance and no participation, and that's not the judgment. It's just saying, this is not acceptable. I won't participate in it. And I accept that that's your choice in your journey, but I'm going to use that as a teaching for me to ask myself how I'm going to react to it. And so I'm going to have to make some maybe difficult choices. And sometimes it's to walk away. And again, no participation in something puts a lot of institutions out of business, right? And they'll find a better way, a better, higher way. So they'll start to make better choices. Even if it's to make more money, I'm fine with that. If it helps our planet, eventually it's just going to feel good for them and going to realize this is a really nice way of life. To do good things and to heal people instead of negative things, just to survive. We're done surviving. You are eternal. You have nothing to fear. Yes, you'll experience pain, but you don't have to experience suffering. Is when you battle it. When you observe it and you understand it and you find the purpose in it, life becomes much more tolerable. So I will announce my Breakthrough Fear Masterclass coming up soon. Go to unityclothingcompany.com and landriaonkka.com. You will find all kinds of cool stuff there. And these are free videos. We're creating online businesses because more stuff's coming down the road. It has to. Of course it will. We're on a planet of challenges. And what's going to happen? Well, if you're stuck at home, you have an internet, it's not going to stop you from reaching the planet or doing some amazing things. In fact, you could flourish. You can flourish right now. You're whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.